only show that's 3 dimensions away from Dungeons and Dragons actually having a great film. I'm your host 3D Jake, and today we're looking at Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, released in 2023. Dungeons and Dragons is directed by Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley, the guys who wrote and directed Vacation and also wrote Horrible Bosses and directed Game Night. Also, they co-wrote the movie with Michael Gillio from a story by Michael Gillio and Chris McKay. The movie stars Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Justice Smith, Sophia Lillis, and Hugh Grant. The movie is essentially about a group of thieves who basically have to go and rescue one of the thieves' daughter from an evil lord and an evil red witch who basically have basically screwed them over years ago. So basically they have to team up with these mercenaries who once friends, have to team up again to do that, as well as they have to steal a crown and a couple other side missions before they get to the main goal. This movie, I will say one thing in its favor. The movie, if it was a video game, it would work as a video game. But as a movie, it does not work. The story, I will say, there are things I like about this movie, but I did not like this movie. I watched this movie. I didn't go see it in theaters. I watched it on Paramount Plus. But I was like looking forward to it. I was really excited. I sat down tonight, or actually not tonight because this video is pre-recorded because I'm in Disney right now. But Saturday night. What time? Saturday night is when I sat down and watched this movie, and so I'm like, I'm gonna watch Dungeons and Dragons. Awesome, because I know the original one. I saw it was terrible, and so I didn't see the whole movie, but I saw bits and pieces, and it was terrible. And so I was like, I couldn't finish the movie. But yeah, that movie was terrible. So I was looking forward to it because I'm a big fantasy guy. I love Lord of the Rings. I've never played D&D, but I've heard lots of people play it, and one day I'm gonna try to start playing it after I get back from vacation. But like right now, I'm gonna But I did watch the movie, and I will say about this, it has a great story. It does not have anything else going for it besides a great story. I mean, the music is okay, but like the story is the only thing going for this movie. You mean and it has pretty good cast. Like most of the cast is pretty good. Like Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Sophia Lillis, they're great. Justice Smith is not. Neither is Hugh Grant, and I will get to those in my dislikes. But yes, the cast, the Red Witch, I forget her name, she's great in this movie as a villain. The cast is really good. Everybody brings even what's his name, Gene Page. He is actually pretty good in the scenes he's actually in. So I really like everyone mostly in this movie is pretty good. I like Chris Pine's backstory. That was one thing I really liked. It made me kind of sad. And I also like, how he's like a thief. He almost kind of reminds me of Jack Sparrow in a way. He's like a thief that is like the leader of the thieves. It's kind of fun. It was a fun thing, And I also like Michelle Rodriguez, how she's like the muscle, and it kind of reminded me of her character from Resident Evil a little bit. Only she has more depth in this movie. And I also liked Sophia Lillis, who's the shapeshifter, and she's really great in this movie too. And the evil Red Witch is great as a villain. I mean, she looks creepy. She's evil. I mean, it's just so great about that. And Gene Page has a great backstory. I kind of wish he was in the whole movie instead of just the part he's in, because he was really great in that movie as well. And I am going to go into some spoilers, so spoilers. And one thing I also liked about it was I liked the magical fantasy elements. Maybe like there's like talking birds, and there's talking like there's talking goats, and there's like at the beginning of the movie there's like a talking goat thing that's sitting at a council table, and just like just different things like that. It makes it really fantasy. Like when I see the word fantasy, like Game of Thrones is considered fantasy, but really there's not. Like there's dragons and there's walking dead things, but like other than that, there's really no fantasy. It's mostly like really just realistically. Lord of the Rings has some fantasy, but like they focus more on the realistic side of it, more than a fantasy side. And this one, I would say this and The Witcher are the ones that focus more on fantasy. And I like that when they focus on fantasy. When I expect fantasy, I expect this, like talking animals and just different things about that. Using magic to heal people, stuff like that is what I expect. Um, you know, and also like the dead guy scene made me laugh. That was really funny when they were hooked up together and they start asking him questions and he dies, and then later on there's a scene where because the scene does get overdone, but then the end scene when they ask him a question and they're like that's the wrong guy, and then like and then they're like because I don't get the answer right, so then of course he's like what's 2 plus 2, and then the guy doesn't know, and then they go to the last guy, and the last guy was like he answers their question. And he goes, "You still have 2 more." Ask him one question. What's your favorite book? And then they walk away. And he still has one more question. He goes, "Damn, that made me laugh. I actually got a chuckle out of that. That was really funny." Um, you know, and also Chris Pine's great in this movie as well. Most of the cast I said is great. Chris Pine does feel like Captain Kirk almost in this medieval times. That's how I would best way to describe his character. But he's a thief. And the arena scene was pretty great too. I really like the arena scene. The arena scene was pretty great, and I like the ending of the movie. It really, I like how everything was brought together by the end. That really also was pretty good. The arena scene when they're being like where they're basically having to survive. These like almost like challenges. Not really challenges. I guess they're animals trying to kill them. Almost kind of like in Gladiator or Attack of the Clones. Those are things I liked in the movie. Now I'm gonna tell you everything I disliked, and trust me, it's a lot. The vision. First off, I'm just gonna start with the most basic thing, the most common thing that really irked me the most was there is too much comedy in this movie. This movie has a lot of comedy, and sometimes they go overboard with the comedy. Like there is a scene in the movie where a guy starts to leave, where Gene's Page character starts to leave, and then they start just talking. They're giving an audio commentary of him walking, and at first I was like, maybe this could work, and then it just keeps going, and then they're like, up, he's going, up, is he gonna make it over the stone? Up, he's stepping. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. Okay, come on. Like, there's better comedy than this. Come on. But Danny McBride had better comedy in Your Highness than he had in this movie. And also, they beat the horse to death with comedy in this movie. Like, there is so much comedy in this movie that where I'm just like, even in the parts where they don't need to be, I'm like, come on, dude. Why do you go? Why are you trying to go for a laugh when this is a serious moment? Like, seriously. Like, literally, there was a moment in this movie where it was that guy was giving a heartfelt speech to his daughter until he realized his daughter's not really his daughter. And then it's like, I'm a witch. And then he turns into the witch. And she's like, and I don't know if we're going for laughs, but that scene when she turns away, she's like laughing, ah ha ha ha, ah ha ha ha, and then she's like laughing. I'm dying laughing because I'm like, how bad the scene, because the visual effects in that scene did not look good, and he's like, ah, just like laughing. How stupid that scene. I'm like, I think that was intentionally bad on purpose because that just like this is so over the top scene. Like I was laughing. I hope it was intentional because not that. Oh my god. Dude, and these are the same guys who gave us Vacation. They also gave us Game Night, which is a fantastic movie that can balance humor and seriousness. I don't understand what went wrong with this movie because literally, like there's too much comedy, and parts of the comedy, like sometimes they go over, like the dead guy scene. It works, 2 or 3 parts of it work, but then most of it's just them digging and asking questions. It's just like you're going overboard with a joke. You don't need to go. You're like, you already here, man. You're good. You got this. And just that. Or, there's just so many characters in the movie that, like, one character, they just make the butt of every joke. Like, they're explaining something, like, and then all of a sudden a character does something stupid, and then it's like, it's so predictable. Either the jokes are predictable or they're just not done well. And it's like, if you're going to make this a comedy, then make it a comedy, but do it right. You don't have to focus on the serious elements if you're doing a comedy. I mean, seriously, this movie reminded me much of Thor Love and Thunder. Like, I'm seriously, it even has another flaw Thor Love and Thunder has as well. This movie, I'm like, this movie and Thor Love and Thunder you can put in the same barrel because they have 2 problems that each one have. Both are their directors went overboard with comedy. Because I don't think the story is actually really good. I think the directors, because they come from comedy, I think they were the ones that made it, like, kept ad-libbing on set, making jokes. Because, and I hope that's the case. I mean, I could be wrong. It could have been the writers that said, hey, let's make this comedy. But I feel like the directors, because they also wrote the movie, so I can't say the directors are the ones that came up with this. You know, because they are known to make comedies and ad lib on set. Okay, for instance, they co-wrote the first Spider-Man Tom Holland film, Spider-Man: Homecoming, and notice how that movie has jokes that don't land or jokes that just go overboard. Notice how that and how they didn't write Far From Home, and the jokes actually landed better and were better. I'm just saying, I don't think they're bad directors. I don't. I just think that sometimes they go overboard with their comedy that's just unnecessary. Also, the visual effects are a problem in the movie. The visual effects look, I mean, they're like just like Love. I said that's the two things Thor, Love and Thunder, and Dungeons and Dragons have in common. They both have visual effects problems. You can tell I'm watching the scene with the volcano, in the like the lava area, and I'm like, that does not look real at all. That looks exactly like they're on a soundstage. Like I'm like it just like Thor: Love and Thunder. The visual effects were not completed, so you could tell a lot of scenes were fake in the movie. This movie had the same issue, only I don't think the visual effects were. I think they were completed. I just think they were just looking bad because like there's scenes where it's like they're like, okay, this is a real area, this is a real area, okay. It's just the reason, but it just looks shiny because they're shot in digital. But still, it's all brightened up when it shouldn't. But still, I was like, I'll let that go. But the fact is, when they're in an area like, oh, we're in the mountains. Okay, this is fake, obviously, because you could tell it does not look real. Oh, over here, they're in an arena. There's literally a scene where they're in an arena, and Hugh Grant is standing up on a giant pedestal, rising himself up, and it looks so fake. It looks like something that was done on a computer in like 1999. I'm like, are you serious? This is literally a 2023 movie. The visual effects in this movie look like they came out in 2008. Okay, like literally, like, and there's even parts where characters fall and stuff. There's CGI, and I'm like, are you serious? Like these are, and I'm like, are you serious? Like, well, come on. I thought we were past this already. Like, come on. This is just like, are you serious? This is like such a bad move. And it's like, and these guys were going to direct the Flash movie. And I'm glad now they didn't, because this was a bad idea. You know, and Chris McKay, I know, was on Double Toasted Podcast a while back, saying he wrote a great script. I imagine, I would love to read his original draft, because I'm sure it was a much better draft than what John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein came up with. I'm sure, and I feel bad. I wish he would have directed this instead of Renfield, because I think this would have been a much better film. I mean, if the movie's not bad, the story's not bad. It's just if they would have took the comedy down and actually fixed the visual effects, or tried to do practical and a little visual effects here and there, this could have been like a 10, a 9 out of 10 movie, or even like a B plus to A minus movie. But instead, it's like they just kind of feel like they just did the bare minimal to make this damn movie, and it really irks me. I mean, seriously. And also, let's talk about the Jar Jar Binks in the room, Justice Smith. Okay, he plays this most annoying character who's like a mage who basically is just like always clumsy, doing dumb shit, clumsy shit. Like he steps his foot, like this guy's literally giving directions, saying, "Don't touch it. This is how we're gonna figure it out." And then he does his foot like this and destroys the whole fucking thing. And I'm like, you are a fucking idiot. You know that? Like I would push his ass in the lava, but we need him because he's the fucking wizard. And I'm like, we can't find anyone else. We had to go find the biggest moron. You know, literally, there's a bunch of mages out there, and we got to get the Jar Jar Binks and mages. And it's just like, and also he keeps seeing his dead dad, like is with him every time he sees the ghost of his dead dad. I mean, he does a lot of stupid shit, and he's the most annoying character in the movie. He is Jar Jar Binks in this movie. I'm just like, can we please kill him already? Like, come on. And I know it's like he's a wizard that hasn't mastered his strength yet, but like, come on, this dude is so annoying. He is just the most annoying character. And then he's even a bad thief too. He tries to steal from people and they catch him. I'm like, and he tries to do it in front of everyone. That's the stupidest part. I'm like, you could have waited until they left or started to leave, or you could have done it when you had like a distraction. You literally were trying to distract them with yourself in front. You idiot. I'm like, this dude is the most annoying character ever. Okay, and then also with the dead guy they were talking to earlier, he was inciting him to ask questions to where the dead guy could not answer the questions only with a question. So he's the cause of the dead guy not answering his question. It's like everything he does in this movie is stupid until the very end where he's like, I mastered my power now, and I'm like, you don't get a redemption arc. You're an idiot. Okay, like no. And on top of that, Reggie Page is barely in the movie. He is actually a much better character than Jar Jar Smith. he actually has a great backstory, and I'm like, oh my god, and then he just goes away in the movie, and I'm like, why was he even in the movie? Okay, he just goes away, you know, and I'm just like, and because he's marketed on all the posters and every trailer and everything, but he's barely in the movie, and that really irks me. I mean, he's in the movie, you know, but I'm just like, come on, really? And also, I talked about the transformation from the daughter to the witch, and also, also, there's a scene where Chris Pine is walking around and he's trying to sing, you know, as a distraction. It's like a fake spell that Jar Jar Smith casted. And then his eyes go buggy and he just falls apart because this dude's a shitty wizard. And so basically things falls apart and his eyes are just like, ah, and you can tell it's so fake because the eyes look like like they're like Looney Tunes drawn from 2004. That's how bad they look. And so I'm like, it just was so bad that CGI. I was like, this is so stupid. It made me laugh. It was like how bad this is. So I mean, maybe that was the intent, but also Hugh Grant's not really a good villain. I mean, the Red Witch is a great villain, but Hugh Grant is just like that annoying villain that's like the witch's bitch. You know, like she's the puppet master. He's the puppet. You know, in the sense where he's doing all this to please the witch, and then she basically tells him to piss off once she get what she wants from him. I mean, it's that type of situation, and I was just like, I was hoping he would be a much better villain where it's like they're gonna have a big battle and stuff. You know, him and Hugh Grant, you know, and everything, he dies and all that. I thought it was gonna be that kind of cool, you know, thing, but instead it's just like he's just a coward. And I was like, really? That's it? The movie's a movie, though, I will say that. I hope in 10 years, the movie did flop, and no wonder why. But you know what? Hopefully in 10 more years, we'll get another movie that actually is a great movie that doesn't focus on comedy and actually has good practical effects. So, I will say if I had to give this movie a grade, I would give it a C. Thank you so much for watching.
What is it exactly that you bring to this?
I'm a planner. I make plans.
You've already made the plan, so...
If the existing plan fails, I make a new plan.
So you make plans that fail?
No.
He also plays the lute.
Not relevant.